everyone, this is Doxy Mom and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done so already, I greatly appreciate if you hit that little red subscribe button. You can ring the bell for notifications, and if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. Well, Miss Peanut and I, we got lots of news to bring you today in 15 minutes or less, so let's get to it. Now, if you want to know the number of coronavirus cases in the country or in your particular state, then go to newsbreak.com. They have a map of the United States, and you just hold your cursor over a state, and it will tell you the number of cases, the number of deaths, and the number recovered. And right now in the United States, there's 34,669 confirmed coronavirus cases. Unfortunately, 489 people have died, and 180, though, have recovered. Now, if you hold your cursor and you click on that state, let's say of your state, it'll show you all the counties in your state and the number of confirmed cases and the number of deaths. So, guys, I'll leave a link in the pinned comment below if you want to check it out. Just give me a few minutes to get that set up as soon as I put this video out. All right, NBC News, they're reporting on what is happening to some of the people who have coronavirus. Now, apparently, some patterns have emerged. Some people will start off with minor physical complaints, slight cough, headache, low-grade fever. Then they'll have symptoms about a week before either getting better or getting really sick. And this Dr. Denson from Tulane Medical Center in New Orleans and other physicians, they're seeing similar progression. Now, Dr. Ken Lin Q, a pulmonologist, he said it seems like there's a period of time where the body is trying to sort out whether it can beat this or not. End quote. Now, sometimes patients start to feel better and their health just quickly deteriorates. Now, Dr. O from Wake Forest School of Medicine in North Carolina, he says that some people will say, hey, I think I'm getting over this. And then 24 hours later, they've got a terrible fever, they've got severe fatigue, a worsening cough, and shortness of breath, and then they end up in the hospital. Now, Susan Kane, a resident of Washington State, she said her 55-year-old husband, Chris, arrived home from a business trip to Florida with a nagging cough and thought he just had a minor cold. And over the next few weeks, the cough got worse. And he was coughing and gasping for air. Then he was hospitalized. Of course, he was diagnosed with coronavirus. However, he was given the drug, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, remdesivir, and Chris made a complete recovery. So this is wonderful news. Now, Dr. Denson said nearly all of his most critically ill patients have a combination of 3 specific underlying medical problems: obesity, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes. However, overall data on coronaviruses from China, Europe, and the United States have shown that more than 80% of the patients have a mild form of the illness and they recover. So this is excellent news, guys. Just be aware of how you're feeling, and if your symptoms start to get worse after you've been feeling better, then please contact your doctor, and I'll leave a link. Now, the Gateway Pundit, they're reporting that nearly 5,500 National Guard troops have been deployed in 32 states over this coronavirus outbreak. The United States now has the U.S. now has an emergency declaration in every state, territory, and District of Columbia, and General Joseph Lengyel tweeted this out. I hear unfounded rumors about National Guard troops supporting a nationwide quarantine. Let me be clear, there has been no such discussion in tweet. Now, the Guard said they would let people know as troops are activated. And just remember that these people, they're your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, your co-workers. We are you is what they're saying, and we're all in this together, which we are, and we're going to get through it together, and yes, we will, and I'll leave a link. Now, in researching COVID-19, I found an article from The Scientist, which I'll link, and it says theories have circulated about the origin of the novel coronavirus causing the disease SARS-CoV-2. Now, one rumor, but in my opinion, it could be exactly what happened because I don't believe in coincidences. But it said that the coronavirus escaped from a lab in Wuhan and then spread to the public, that it was genetically engineered to be a bioweapon, yet of course the scientists say there's not enough information to pinpoint where the virus came from, and there is no evidence that it was created in a lab. However, there isn't any evidence it wasn't created in a lab as a bioweapon. Now, Stephen Mosher, a scientist who believes SARS-CoV-2 was accidentally spread by China's National Biosafety Lab at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where researchers have studied bat coronaviruses. Now, Mosher says that the lab is 10 miles away from where the first cases were discovered. And after the 2003 SARS outbreak, the SARS-CoV virus escaped multiple times from labs in China, and expert Major General Chen Wei went to the Wuhan Institute with military scientists in January to study the new virus, which Mosher sees as a form of damage control. Now, Mosher tells the scientist the circumstantial evidence surrounding it is pretty compelling. The idea that the epicenter of this epidemic would be just a few miles from the Wuhan Institute, which is where we know that dangerous pathogens are being kept and looked at as potential bioweapons, I think the odds against this are just astronomical. Now, Mosher goes on to say that animals could have been the origin and the virus escaped from the lab, but China is collecting dangerous pathogens and they have a history of letting them escape from the lab. Now, in the past, coronavirus has come. I'm sorry, guys. Come on, puppy. Come here. Well, she's just wanting to play, guys. In the past, coronaviruses have come from wild bats that infect another type of animal, and that they infect another type of animal, an intermediate host that then spread to humans. Well, we all know that this is unlike any other coronavirus we've ever seen, and you know what? We've never shut down complete states and countries before. So, any way you look at this, the deep state is behind releasing this virus, and 17 tells us to think logically. Well, first, it was Russia. Then it was Ukraine. Then impeachment, and none of that worked. And we were told that there's no step 5. And then, bam! What happens? Coronavirus shows up. President Trump, he knew that the deep state, that they're fighting for their lives. So my opinion is that this virus was made in a lab and the deep state released it. Moving on. Now, President Trump, he held a press conference on Sunday, March 22nd, and he said that we're at war and we're fighting an invisible enemy, but we will win this war. The enemy has attacked 144 countries, but they will be totally victorious. Our stock market will come back, and it will come back stronger, and I totally agree with President Trump. Now, Vice President Pence, he said that only 10% of people tested for the coronavirus tested positive, and a quarter of the population has already been tested. So this is very good news, and President Trump has contacted many countries to offer help. And he wants to help businesses and families here, and a stimulus package, as of the time I'm making this video, has not yet been agreed upon. President Trump said the Republicans are ready, but the Democrats are holding everything up. Imagine that. Now, the Gateway Pundit, they're reporting that Harvey Weinstein, who was sentenced to 23 years in prison, is one of 2 inmates at the Wendy Correctional Facility to test positive for coronavirus. He's 67 years old and in isolation, and I'll leave a link. And guys, we just need to pray for everyone with this terrible virus, and we need to just ask God just to wipe it out and just to heal all of those who are infected. Now, Praying Medic, he put out a video, and he says that the media has weaponized this virus. They're creating fear and panic, and doing this on purpose. Why? So President Trump will look bad and not be reelected. President Trump was running on the strength of the market, and their plan was to crash the market with a series of news cycles spreading fear to get people to sell off their investments, crash the market, and hurt President Trump's chance of winning in 2020. But don't worry, guys, this is not going to happen. Now, Praying Medic does think that this virus is not a cover for the mass arrest. And guys, I have a tendency to believe him. First, Trump did not start this virus, and he was caught totally off, excuse me, he was caught totally off guard by it. And Praying Medic brings up an excellent point. He says, when the mass arrest happened, it will be highly classified and nothing will be leaked. And right now, everyone's talking about it on social media. So it's probably not going to happen. However, operations are ongoing, and when 17 is quiet, things are happening behind the scenes. He also said what I've been saying, and that is to make sure that you listen in every time President Trump gives a press conference, because we all know President Trump is Q+. Now, he's trolling the media and the deep state, and that's just more evidence that things are happening. And don't gauge things happening as just as arrest, but how the system is being changed. Praying Medic says you can throw all the bad FBI, DOJ, C_A, and elected officials in jail tomorrow, and nothing is going to change because the people are not the problem. The institutions are the problem. They have created institutions that enable corruption. The laws, legislation, loopholes, and insider trading, they've rigged up a system that allows them to continue perpetrating corruption regardless of whoever is in power. And the great news is the system is changing. So things are happening because they're getting rid of the deep state players in charge of the different departments, and they're bringing in patriots to run things. And the patriots, they're cleaning up these departments. They're changing the rules, the regulations, and the policies so the corruption will be gone and can't come back. Now, I'll leave a link to part 1 because I haven't finished watching part 2 yet. And I'm also going to be reporting on Q's post number 3895, which says do not fear and takes you to a YouTube video. Then iPot did a video on this link and linked it up with this Dark Legacy 2 documentary film trailer that talks about how the media covered up the murder of President Kennedy and that George H.W. Bush had JFK killed. So I'll be getting into all of that in my next video. And just remember, Jesus tells us, do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. Well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Doxy Mom, and God bless you all.